It is time for Mother Knows Best, and we are so glad that you've joined us today, and thank you guys for being here. First up, our topic, recently in the news there was a story of this 15-year-old girl. We're talking about cyberbullying. She committed suicide because of cyberbullying. This isn't the first time this has happened. There have been several cases in the news lately, and I feel like nowadays, you know, it's even more prevalent because of all of the technology. Back when there wasn't this type of technology, now it's at a whole new level of bullying. Kids go home and they're still bullied. And so my first question is, how do you guys monitor the internet and the phone at your homes? Because now the phones, the iPads, everything has internet access. How do you guys monitor the internet that your children use?
Well, first of all, my kids aren't driving yet. Even my 15-year-old isn't quite there yet. So actually none of my kids have phones. So that kind of helps me. And I know that puts me in a very unpopular position, but I don't see a need for them to have them. The Facebook page, though, that my older one has, I monitor it. I mean, and I try to encourage him to just write about himself, you know, and I just tell him, avoid talking about other people, because things get, you know, when you see things in writing, it's so easily, first of all, to misconstrue things. So you have to really be careful about what you post. So I just try to encourage him to write what you wouldn't mind seeing written about yourself.
I know for me too, we have to determine first if they're mature enough or responsible enough to handle a page, because a lot of the kids are not mature enough. They put everything out there.
Absolutely.
And there are no secrets to passwords. You know, I'm the CIA in our family. I'm going to know your password. I'm going to do random checks. I'm going to, you know, pull your cell phone records. I'm going to be in the now all the time with that. And we sit down and talk to our children about that. My daughter does not have a Facebook page. She has a cell phone, but she doesn't have a Facebook page as of right now. And she has to prove that she's responsible enough. She knows how to handle it. She knows not to put all of her business out there first. Then we'll think about it and see. Yeah.
And Kelly, I know there are a lot of parents out there who feel like they want to give their children privacy, but my view is, as long as you're living in my house, I'm going to monitor everything that you've got, because I'm trying to help you shape the reputation that you're putting out there. So I do Facebook checks, and every so often I'll say, let me see your cell phone, and I'm going through the messages.
And you know, I know a lot of parents, you know, both parents work and they say, well, I don't have time to do that. And my response to that would be, if you don't have time to monitor your children, you don't have time, they shouldn't have the pages or the phone or whatever it is. You know, it's a responsibility that a parent has.
Real quick, we have about less than a minute left. How would you handle cyberbullying?
Me, I'm going to reach out to first the person, whether it's, if my child is the person who's the aggressor or the victim, I'm going to reach out to the parents first and talk to the parents and see if we can come to that. If it's a Facebook friend and you can't come to a resolve, delete them. If it's someone who's texting you, block them on your telephone. But the first thing to do, I'm not going to reach out to the child because they're underage. I'm going to talk to the parents first. I'm going to talk to my child. If we can't come to a resolve, part ways.
Of course, the problem lies if you don't know what's going on, though. That's the problem.
We're going to get back to that in just a moment, so make sure to stick with us, and we'll be right back with more Mother Knows Best on Good Day. We're back with Mother Knows Best, and we've been talking about cyberbullying this morning, this recent news story about this 15-year-old girl who committed suicide over it, and the many other stories that are just like hers. But one of the things that was mentioned in this particular story was that the mother didn't know what was going on in her child's life. She tried to find out, but the girl was so distraught that she didn't want to talk about it. And it was that night that she committed suicide. So her mom, you know, was this close to maybe helping her. But how do you get your child to even open up to you if they don't want to talk?
Well, I know with mine, I've always had success in, let's go for a walk or let's go for a drive. When you kind of just try to sit face to face and pull something out, that it's kind of like the little wall goes up. But if it's just like, look, you know, we're both stressed out, let's just get out and go for a walk or go for a drive. But one thing I did want to mention, Kelly, is in some of these higher profile cases that we've seen where these kids are killing themselves, the schools were aware that the bullying was going on, but they didn't communicate with the parents. And I mean, we ask our schools to do everything, I know that, but this is so important, and this is saving lives. And I think there should be some kind of communication if they know that this child is being targeted on a daily basis, just to reach out to the parents and give them a heads up. So that's part of how we could know.
Now, what if your child, what were you going to say?
Actually, it's not necessarily a response to your question, but I do want to say something about what Janet just mentioned, and that is having worked with 6th through 12th graders a lot lately, you know, it's interesting. They all know what bullying is because the schools do teach it. But when you ask them, have you ever experienced it, they all say yes. But then if you ask them, have you ever done that? They would say, oh, I never did those things. Yeah, I did talk badly about somebody, but when I did it, I was being honest, or I was just joking. So I think we've got to teach our own children that being honest or just joking is still bullying.
And we have to also know our children, monitor our reactions to our children's questions. You know, because even when they come to you and they talk to you about sex and boys and all that other stuff, sometimes you want to do that left eye twitch. And so, I mean, they have to know that when they come to you or tell you things about bullying, either if they did it or someone did it to them, that you're not going to overreact.
Yeah.
You know, be calm about it, and then that'll keep that door open for communication.
Plus, it's important to really establish something before there's a crisis. My kids, I have a pretty religiously have a date with them every week. Whether it's just, you know, come on, let's get in the car and run some errands together, but it's one-on-one time with them. And I love the car. I mean, the car, I find out things in the car that I know they'd never say face-to-face. We're both looking forward, you know, and it's just really quality time.
Very good. Some great thoughts this morning. We have another section we're going to go ahead and move on to, and we're talking now about summer car trips and how you're keeping your kids entertained, because, you know, everybody is going to be going on trips and things like that. So the number one thing, how do you handle siblings fighting in the car together?
That never happens.
That never happened.
No, I'm kidding.
There is a wonderful book that I discovered years ago, and I don't have that particular book with me, but it's called Car Schooling. It's over 350 activities that you can do in a car. And most of them are low tech or no tech. But of course, the book's available now on Kindle, so that's kind of funny. But it's awesome, and the goal of the book, it says, is to turn car time into educational time. So a lot of them are just, without being schooly, you know, there are ways for the kids to learn. It's an amazing book, but it's car schooling. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you just said that about how you get more out of your kids when you're in the car. You don't have any TV or any distractions in.
Well,
and
some people do now. With,
well,
you know,
we haven't advanced there yet.
Yeah, we don't.
I don't know if we're too cheap or what, but we haven't gotten there. But we do a lot of talking in the car, and my husband's big into music. So if you all ever see us driving down Slappy, you'll probably see everybody in there just, you know, he's got the whole car thing going on in the car. So we do a lot of singing and a lot of talking.
You were going to say something earlier.
Actually, I was going to show you. I actually brought a car kit that we use.
Show us.
And this is it's just our travel box, and the kids can't go in it except when we're traveling. So the toys are always new because we're not traveling all the time.
That's good.
But I have a lot of talk about low tech and low budget ideas. But here's the rule: the kids get to look at the box, but they only get to play with one item for 20 minutes, and then they got to put it back in, so that the sibling has to wait for 20 minutes. But there are a couple of things that are low tech, like pipe cleaners. You hand a kid a handful of pipe cleaners, and they can play for 20 minutes.
We're going to come back with that little teaser. We're going to see what else she has in her box here in just a second. Stick with us. We'll be right back with more Mother Knows Best. We're back talking about ways to keep your kid entertained. We left off with Tracy showing us what is in her car box.
Actually, it's a lot of different things. The idea of it is that because the kids don't get the chance to see it all the time, the toys are new, even if they've used them before. But coloring books and crayons are always a good idea. This is one of my personal favorites if you don't have a car that's too special. My son can spend 20 minutes with a roll of Scotch tape. And then
hilarious.
our other favorite is a book of knock-knock jokes, because that gets the whole family involved. So there are a lot of cool options.
Very, very fun. And you have some games you wanted to tell us about.
I do. We do, you know, the old classics, pick a state, and you'll look for that license plate. Pick a color of the car, and of course nobody can pick white or silver because you'll have 100 cars in a minute. But the one that the kids and down to the grandkids love the most is you go through the alphabet and say, if I was A, it would be, I'm Abigail, and I'm from Albany, and I sell apples. So you have to go through each letter and pick a name and where you're from. And it's okay when you're doing B or C, but when you get to Y and Z, it gets a little
X's.
Yeah.
Crazy.
tricky.
Yeah.
Nobody
I bet
wants to
so.
get that one.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all are very low tech too, and we are. We don't have a DVD player, and I know that I have some friends that say, "Oh, I don't know how you do it," but we do.
You do.
This is actually a jewelry case. You know, a
that's
travel
easy.
jewelry case, and when you open it up, the kids pick their own things and put them in here. And the thing I love about it is the handle here has a clip, so you can clip this around the headrest in front of you, and then they just kind of pick what they want to do.
Very good. And you have some
And
Uno cards in there.
Yeah, and this changes up depending on where we're going and what we're doing and things like that. And then I have a writer in my household too, and so this isn't actually his book because he didn't want me to take it. So, but this has it has a pad, paper, and you put pens in here. A Kindle fits in here. I mean, it's really
Very
just
good.
very compact, and they just stick it in their bag.
So you guys kind of mentioned about having the TVs in the car. Lots of families are having the TVs in the car, especially for long road trips. So talk about, why you've chosen, I guess, not to have the TV in the car. Do you feel like it hinders family involvement, or what your thoughts are?
I think it takes up too much time enough at home. I mean, we have to tell them to turn off the TV so that we can just have family time at home. And the road trip is the best time. We even with the games and the I Spy and the singing and the talking, and we like it. And to tell you the truth, our kids have never really pushed for a DVD. I pray that watching this show is not going to make them want to push for a DVD. But it's great family time, so we really enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think a little bit of boredom actually kind of helps kids get creative with things like that. It's good to let them watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're too afraid of the word boredom, or I'm bored, or this is boring. I mean, that's when their creativity kind of comes to the surface. But we really numb it by always entertaining them, always having something visual. Plus, it's really bad on the eyes. I mean, we got to really talk basic too. All that screen time really does, take a toll. Yeah.
Well, I have to come clean and say, when our grandkids were young, because they're getting in the age of getting married now, we used to take 6 at a time on vacation, and we did have a conversion van with TVs in, because otherwise I would have been jumping out and standing on the side of the road somewhere. They're wonderful grandchildren, but when you put 6 of them in a van, you've got to have a little more entertainment.
How is that helpful for you?
Because we could just, when everybody was getting bouncing off the walls, and no, that's toy, no, that's my toy, no, that's mine, and they were fighting over everything, we could pop in a movie, and they could watch it, and we could have a little bit of downtime, because we'd go from Florida to the mountains or to Virginia. We'd go on long road trips
Well, there's
with 6
exceptions.
grandchildren.
Sure.
And you really need to kind of plan ahead when you do that. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for talking this morning. Great conversations and wonderful tips. If you guys have a topic that you would like to hear us discuss on Mother Knows Best, you can email us at mothers@wfxl.com. You can also go to mysouthwestga.com/mothernowsbest to find out more information about these lovely ladies and about this new segment we have on Good Tape. And you guys make sure to join us in the morning. It is Friday at 5 a.m. We'll see you then.